Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to Indie Comics Review. I am your host Lorenzo, and this week we're not going to do two, we're not going to do three, we're going to do four. Yeah, four, count them, four comics this week in our review. So how you like me now? Liked a lot of books this week, so I decided to do an extra book. So let's get started right away. First book is Maniac of NY. This is written by Elliot Kalin and illustrated by Andrea Moody. This book takes place in New York, obviously, and it opens on New Year's Eve 2016. There's a massacre in Times Square. This Jason Voorhees-like maniac has just gone apeshit and just killed a bunch of people. Fast forward to 2020, 4 years later. What has happened is, in this book, is they have more or less normalized the maniac. The maniac is still at large. The police have not been able to apprehend him, and they have just told the public to just, hey, it is what it is. Just look out for the guy. You know, just like they give a report every day, like a weather report, like watch out for the maniac. You know, watch out for the killer. And it's just gotten to the ridiculous state, you know. And we open on these two main characters, it seems. One is the new head of the Maniac Task Force. She's going to the job on her first day. She's excited about catching Harry, the guy they call him Harry, the Maniac of New York. And the other is a cop. And she is she seems to have some personal thing about wanting to catch the maniac as well. The woman who is the head of the new Maniac Commission runs into a lot of flack when she gets to her new job. They give us like really crappy office, and they really just like kind of like give her the "oh, isn't that cute" kind of treatment when she talks about catching the maniac. And basically she says, it's like, well, no, we don't catch the maniac, we just maintain. Basically we just like we just pretend like the maniac is part of life. The cop gets in touch with the director of the Maniac Task Force on her first day, and they kind of butt heads a little bit, but you can see that they're going to eventually be colleagues and be on the same page because they both want the same thing. Now the head of the task force, she tells the cop that, I think I knew this guy before he was the maniac, like the young budding maniac, you know, back when before he was famous. So she has this photo of what she believes to be his first victim, and she seems to be one of the only people interested, along with the police officer, in catching this guy. What I love about this book is it kind of, I wouldn't say satirizes, but it builds upon the fake news era that we've come into, and the normalization of horrible things. You know, just accept the maniac. You know, it's part of life. In fact, they've even started blaming all kinds of deaths on the maniac. The cop is like at a crime scene where there's a guy been shot in the back of the head. They're trying to pin that on the maniac too. So just make an excuse for lazy police work. And it's a kind of a cynical view, but not far from, unfortunately, from reality. So I think this is a very well written book, and it's drawn quite well too. And it kind of came out of nowhere for me from Aftershock Comics. They're making a lot of good stuff, as many of the indie titles are, the big indie titles are. So yeah, this is something that I think will be good. I'm not sure if it's a limited or an ongoing series, but Maniac of NY, yeah, pick it up. It is definitely worth your time. The next book is Radiant Black, and that is written by Kyle Higgins and illustrated by Marcello Costa. Radiant Black is kind of your fun superhero kind of a story. It seems to me kind of a mix of Invincible and maybe Power Rangers. It's it starts off with this guy. He's living in California. Uh, he's having a tough time making it. He looks at his bank account, it's like deep in the negative zone. He's doing like Uber, trying to make ends meet. It's just not working for him. So he ends up having to move back home. He moves back home to, like, suburban Illinois, or small town Illinois. And mom and dad, welcome him home. The dad gives him shit about there. I'm surprised you're making any money as in that field. I think he's a writer. You're not making that much money anyway. So he lets him come back home, but gives him shit while he's coming home. So it's kind of a tough time for him. And the first night back, he meets up with his old buddy from school, who's also seems like one of those guys. Everybody's got a friend like that. You go way back, you're friends and everything, but the guy's kind of a bag. They give each other shit. And they're out discussing things and just having some beers and tying it on. So the friend is kind of inebriated. The lead character is not quite so much. And on their way to the car, they run into this like floating orb. It looks like a little miniature Saturn or something. And so naturally, the guy decides, I'm gonna grab that thing and see what happens. And after he grabs it, there's this big transformation, and boom, radiant black. He's in his costume with his helmet. It's this really slick, like Power Rangers type of suit, kind of, sort of. And they both like, whoa, what the hell's going on? Like, dude, you gotta be a superhero now. You got this suit and all this stuff. But what happens later on makes you wonder if he's going to use this power for good, or if he's the only one who is experiencing this. Radiant Black is beautifully drawn. It's written pretty well too. That's if you like superhero books with it could be. I think it could be an all ages book. It doesn't say so, but I believe it is. It's one of those goods. It was a kind of a feel good thing. I enjoyed it. It was nice to see a new #1 book, superhero book, come out, and it was just fun. It was funny. It was well done. It was well drawn. So yeah, Radiant Black gets definitely a thumbs up for me also. Book number 3 is Redemption, and that is by Krista Faust and Mike Deodato Jr. Redemption, it's another post-apocalyptic book. Those are pretty big because it's just easy to assume that this society or this planet is headed into an apocalyptic event at some point. And this one, it occurs. It looks like when the first shot appears, it looks like it's a Western. And you look at, that's a really well-drawn Western town. Wait, there's a car in the wreck right there. There's a car in the back. So it's not a Western per se. It's not. It just got the feel of a Western, but it's also got a mix of a post-apocalyptic kind of a world. And when we join the story, this woman is just getting the hell beat out of her by this tyrannical Christian zealot who runs the town called Redemption, which is like this oasis in the desert from the apocalyptic world, the wasteland that lies outside. And he's just beating her because she helped this young girl get an abortion, and the girl was like 14 or something like that, and then he forces the girl to just say that she didn't want the woman's help, and that she begs for forgiveness and all this nonsense and stuff like that, and the woman just takes the beating. Move to the next scene where the woman's in lockup in jail, and she's talking to her daughter, and her daughter's talking like, I got to get you out of here. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I've got to get you out of here. And they end up talking about this famous gunslinger, this famous woman who's known as the Butcher, and she's just this badass that you wouldn't believe. You know, she's kind of like Clint Eastwood and any other kind of badass from a Western you can imagine, like rolled into one. So she says, like, first of all, I don't think you can make it through the wasteland, through the Badlands, and even if you do, what makes you think that this woman is going to come back to help me? And the girl's like, well, it's really just not about you, it's about her coming back, and she's going to do the right thing because she did the right thing before. So her daughter makes up her mind that I'm leaving and I'm going to go. I'm going to go get this woman and help her to bring order back to redemption. So she breaks out, she heads out, and of course the tyrannical guy sends this one-eyed sheriff who had his eye poked out or cut out by the butcher, and still is kind of jumpy about that. Anytime you bring up the butcher around him, he bristles and gets all scared. And they go out after her, and what happens afterwards I won't reveal, but it looks like they're setting up for a meeting of the butcher and the butcher returning to redemption at some point. A couple of things about this book too. It shows it's about Krista Faust, who did Bad Mother. I did not read Bad Mother, but I kind of wanted to. I'll probably get the trade. It's one of those ones that I missed, but I heard that was a really good story. And Mike Diodato Jr. Is known, of course, for doing so many superhero books. And what he said, he really wanted to do something. Two of his favorite genres are westerns and post-apocalyptic worlds. He's got a chance to do a lot of post-apocalyptic stuff, but he's never had a chance to do a western because you don't see many westerns nowadays. You know, that's a genre that's kind of played out. You know, we don't see that much. And Krista Faust is like, I want to do a story with some strong women in it, and where the main protagonist, which is going to be the butcher, is going to be a woman kind of like Clint Eastwood or the John Wayne in True Grit, who's not attractive, you know, not young and sexy, and like they try to make most women in stories, comics, movies, otherwise, but you know, just a regular person, a regular woman who's been through some shit, and she's a powerful and strong leading character. So I think they accomplished both of that in this story. I bought the one with the Michael Cho cover, even though Diodato's interior work is excellent. The Diodato cover is just sweet beyond belief. So I'll be picking up number 2 to see what happens with this. It is definitely headed in the right direction. So yeah, that's another one, another thumbs up this week for Redemption. The final book, I had to squeeze this one in because there's a lot of Black Hammer short limited series coming out, and most of them are pretty good. The ones that I read have been pretty good. This one, Black Hammer Visions, is written by Patton Oswalt and illustrated by Dean Kotz. I believe it's going to be different artists telling maybe different writers too, but if it was just Patton Oswalt telling all the stories, it'd be fine with me. But this story is these two creators on it. This may be like a version of Batman, Black and White, Wolverine, Black, White, and Blood, where different artists get their take on a certain title, like the Black Hammer universe, which is just awesome. There's just so many great characters in this universe that there's so many places they can go. So anyway, in this one, we begin by joining in this world. It's the girls from Ghost World are the stars of this story, and they blend it with Golden Gale. Golden Gale, the woman who's trapped in the body of a girl, like a 40-year-old woman trapped in the body of a 10-year-old girl, and she, like Billy Batson in Shazam, and she can't Shazam out of it. So the Ghost World girls, on their graduation day, are are talking and reminiscing and talking about things they're going to do the next that night and hang out and all that. And then they think about remember that girl we went to school with back in what maybe was sixth grade or whatever, fifth or sixth grade. Golden or Gail was her name. She transferred in and then she transferred out, and she was all weird. And they talk about her and all the things they experienced when she was in their class. It's pretty funny because Gail encouraged Enid, who was the girl with the glasses, to be, hey, don't you ever change. Be weird, you're weird, stay weird, don't let anybody change you. Whereas the other girl who was played by Scarlett Johansson, I forget her name, Barbara, I think it was Barbara is her name. And you can see them kind of growing apart, as people sometimes do, as they went more into detail in the Ghost World story. But they touch on that too, and that plays a factor even in this story. And then they talk about one time when they met what was supposed to be Golden, or you call it Golden Gail, they knew her as Gail only. They met Gail's cousin, who like, okay, how are you still 10 years old? Because they were like older at the time. They were like maybe almost the present day age, like 17 or 16, 17, like what they are now at graduation. And they tried to explain it off like, oh, this is Gail's cousin, her cousin who looks just like her. So yeah, this is not the girl who's not aging that you knew before. But they're smart. They knew that something was up. And there's a thing about that, but I don't want to reveal too much about that because this is, if you're a fan of stories like that, indie comics driven by characters, dialogue, and if you're a fan of Ghost World and Black Hammer, which I am, this was just like a little Valentine's Day present. It was really a cute story, and I really recommend. I think this series is going to be good. I was kind of wary at first because celebrities writing books now. I feel kind of burned with the Werewolf by Night series. That didn't work out so well. But Patton Oswalt seems to be right at home in this medium. He's a really talented guy, and he can do a lot of things. He can act, he can do comedy, and apparently he can write comics. So yeah, pick this up. I picked up the Milk and Cheese cover. There's like 3 or 4 different covers at least for this book. I like the Evan Dorkin Milk and Cheese cover, but Black Hammer Visions could be something that indie comics lovers will enjoy. So yeah, this is something that I highly recommend. Well, that's going to do it for this time, folks. Be sure to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notifications button so you know when I'm making another video, which will be a few days from now. So, hey, God willing and the snow melting, I'll see you next time in my next video, and you guys take care, and thanks for stopping by. Hey, don't forget to subscribe and leave a thumbs up.